Happy Thursday, everybody! Another Thursday means we have our last full out chat for the week. I'm your host, Steve Solberg. Very excited for today's guest, Kaitlyn Sexton, UCA staffer, college staffer, USA All-Girl, Hofstra University alum, multiple-time national champion, and currently with V-Rock. Unbelievable resource, somebody who's very well respected in her industry. Super excited to hear her story. But before we go full out, we need some music. So like every coach says, let's do this one more time. Let's go full out.
Are you ready? Full out chat. You know what time it is. We got the right, we got the vision, you lose the sight. We will never stop, but we got the drop, yeah. What time is it? Full out. We're live in 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right, we are full out, and we are welcoming, Kaitlyn Sexton.
Yay!
Kaitlyn, how are you?
Hi, Steve. I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you again for doing this, and I'm super excited to hear your story. And just everybody knows, you as Hofstra, USA All-Girl, college staffer. But I want people to know Kaitlyn Sexton. Like, where does she come from? What is her story? Your cheerleading background. Did you play any other sports? I'm super excited to interview you. Thank you again for doing this.
Yeah, well, thank you. So it's kind of a long story. I guess I'll make it, as short as possible. But I didn't play much of any other sports. I maybe started some tennis, did some swimming camp, stuff like that. But other than that, I've pretty much been cheering like my whole entire life. Kind of a lot.
So you're one of those that once you got it, the cheer bug, it was done. That was your life.
Oh, for sure. No, my mom. So my parents they both served in the military.
Okay.
And so they kind of already had like a very disciplined mindset going in. And my mom was like an awesome gymnast when she was in school and everything. So she kind of picked my journey for me type thing. So she definitely got me started really young. I started all-star cheer when I was like 10 years old, and I did that for 5 years, continued on to high school, and then so forth from there. So I've definitely been doing it a long time.
So both your parents were military then?
Yes, my
very
dad
cool.
my dad was in the Air Force, my mom was in the Navy.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was super cool, and so that actually made it a lot cooler for later down the road when I ended up on the U.S. national team. That was really, really special to my parents.
I could just imagine, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my dad would love me to join the Air Force as well, but, I think they were pretty happy with me just being on USA a couple times, so.
I'm about to say, probably the closest thing you're going to get is the basket tosses you do. That's about as yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, like, that's kind of like boot camp, right? Maybe
yeah. So because of your parents being military, I mean, did you have to move around a lot? Were you what they call a military brat? Did you have to move around a lot, or?
No, so actually my dad was finished before I was born, before he was married to my mom.
Okay.
My mom ended up, they were stationed in Italy when I was conceived. They had already been married.
Wow.
So they actually came back home, had me, waited till I grew up just a little bit, and then she actually finished her term with the Navy after I was alive. So we didn't have to move around a lot. I was born and raised in New York.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life was there. They both wanted to live there, everything like that. So I was happy that I didn't move around too much because I love New York. I love New York so much. And I love growing up there and like how everybody is there. It's very modern, you know what I mean? And everybody's kind of on the same progressive page.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed where I'm from.
So you grew up in New York. Started all-star cheerleading at a pretty young age. You said your mom was a gymnast. So, I mean, did you get to watch your mom do any flips or anything like that? Was she still doing anything? Or was it kind of like, hey, I used to do this. Maybe Kaitlyn would enjoy this.
Yeah, no, so she was really good at vault and floor.
Okay.
So she hated the beam, hated it so much. I guess back then you got to pick a little bit more, and now you have to do kind of everything. But so she was like, really, she loved gymnastics and everything, but she wanted a more team aspect for me. So when I was about 7, 8 years old, I was like, I want to be a gymnast like you. I want to be like my mom, everything like that. And I started it, and she kind of like secretly, she was like, this is good for her. And like, she had already had me doing, like, I already had cartwheels and was walking on my hands the same time I was learning to walk on my feet because she was so familiar with it. But she switched me into All-Star because she wanted me to have that team aspect. And I think that was a big part of like how I grew to love cheerleading. Because at first it was kind of almost like, it wasn't forced by any means. She was just like, no, like, this is going to be a better fit for you. I mean, I'm glad she did. Obviously, I feel like I really love the timing of where I'm at within the cheer world and everything like that. So, but yeah, I did All-Star a couple years. And at that point in time, I did actually we had a group stunt, and we would always do, I don't know if you like, I don't know if they still even do these anymore, but they had like the group stunt competition at the All-Star competition, and I had my own stunt group. So actually, I had been competing in partner stunt since I was like 11.
Okay. I remember that, like the old school, like All-Stars would have the group stunt competition, or I remember that. Yes. I
Right. Yeah. You could like get your own music, make your own routine, everything like that. And like, I mean, we were maybe doing like pull-ups or something like this, but you know what I mean? Like, it was still performing by myself in a stunt group type thing. And I had learned co-ed stunting, flipping baskets, like all sorts of stuff in All-Star cheerleading that would end up helping me a lot throughout time. And then my freshman year of high school, I did both All-Star and high school and cheer, and I was on my varsity team there, and it was just a lot to handle. So then I figured, you know, I got a lot of great years of All-Stars, really good with where I was, and then I continued high school cheerleading, and I went to Cheer Jams All-Stars and Arlington High School. Shout out to the New York team. But yeah, and then I learned a lot in high school from Erin Powers, Sean Powers' sister. I don't know if you know her, but then it kind of just like kept going into school cheer. So
before we get into high school, you sent me this awesome picture, which obviously, like, this is gold right here. This is exactly why, these are the stories I want to hear right here. So please explain Pajama-rama here. What was this photo shoot for? It kind of just explained like the story behind this.
Yeah, so I wanted to put that in because it shows basically how young I started with everything. You know what I mean? But so American Cheerleader magazine, they used to I don't know if it was like run there, but they used to have like where they took their photo shoots and everything like that in New York. It was in the city. So that wasn't too far from us. So they actually went to our gym. They found a couple people that would fit like whatever they had in mind for the issue, and we actually like had this whole entire magazine. I think it was like one of the very last ones they ever had for American Cheerleader Junior magazine. And they just like, they dressed us up in all sorts of like cheer clothes. They gave us like cool cheer hairstyles and everything. We did cheer for them, everything like that. And it was kind of cool. My mom like laminated the whole thing.
Sure. She probably bought like 50 issues, not a big deal.
Oh,
you know.
yeah, she still has it for sure. So yeah, so I mean, that was just kind of funny. It was, those are a couple of my friends from All-Star Cheer. Actually, Raquel over there, the one, I don't know if this is mirrored, but the navy blue shirt, we ended up cheering together on USA.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Down the road, yeah, she went to an NCAA school. I went to a UCA school, but then she ended up being on USA Co-ed, and it was really cool because we got to kind of cheer together again. So that was really kind of coming full circle, but yeah.
The cheer world, like, from all these stories I've been hearing, I feel like it does come around full circle. I mean, like, it's crazy the connections you're going to have, and even though it's kind of our big world, it really is a small world, and it's just unbelievable how we're all interconnected in some way.
Right, and you just keep seeing the same people forever, and like I still see my old coaches, everything like that. So
you're going into high school. You decided, you know, you're going to do high school only. Kind of talk about the high school cheer experience, and then kind of how that prepared you or propelled you to get ready for college cheerleading.
Yeah, so we never really talked about college cheerleading too much, and a few of us did continue on to college cheer. But our high school team, we had a really good bond. We really loved hanging out and like practicing together and everything like that. And Erin Powers, she used to be on UCA staff. She was our coach, and she was so disciplined and in breaking down the basics and cleanliness that you see a lot of people thriving to do today. So, and we, of course, we thought it was boot camp. We thought it was like the hardest thing ever, like the cleaning practices, everything like that. But we didn't compete. I've never competed at UCA high school nationals. But we competed at Can-Am, and I remember my sophomore year, we were trying to beat this team who had won like 8 years in a row, and we did it. And it was like the craziest thing. It was like something like that is when I pretty much learned that like all your hard work and like cleanliness, the stuff that you don't want to do and the stuff that you have to be disciplined to do, it can really help a lot more. So kind of.
Is that Can-Am at Myrtle Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we took all pictures on the beach, everything like that, of our pyramids, and like we had scorpions in the routine. It's much like a Dorito, but.
Well, for those of you joining us here with Kaitlyn Sexton, we're talking about she's in high school, and if you have any questions for Kaitlyn, we can happy to do a Q&A later if people have questions. At the very bottom of the screen, you're going to see a question mark there that looks like a deck of cards. Tap on that, send us some questions, and Kaitlyn will be happy to answer them later here in the show. So you're in high school, having a good time. Like I said, you're really close to your team. You're just loving cheer. Do you kind of remember the moment when you were thinking, maybe I'll do this college thing. Maybe I'll do this in college?
Yeah, so actually, my coach at Hofstra, Christine Farina, was my judge at a competition.
Okay.
And so it was kind of like that's when we met. And Brian Jackson, he's a UCA State director. We had worked together at like a gymnastics gym type thing, and like we grew up together type thing. So he had gone to Hofstra, and I knew I wanted to cheer, but my parents weren't really about me traveling. They were really kind of saying that I should go to community college first and stuff like that, and like maybe stop cheering. And I was like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Nah, you know, I feel like I've put too much into this. I have too much more to grow, and Christine kind of just like saw something in me, I guess. And I'm pretty sure like she judged this competition. I was so nervous I fell. I'm pretty sure that happened, but she still talked to me, and she was like, no, like I want you to come to clinics, whatever. And I remember I went to my first clinic like on my birthday, and I was just like, I have to be here. I only applied to one school.
Really?
Yeah, I only applied to Hofstra.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, that's like, once it was like set, I was like, I'm not wasting time like applying to other places when it comes to like, it was 2 hours from my house. And so when it comes to New York, there weren't too many college teams that were going to have the same competitive vibe that I had my whole life. So I just felt like Hofstra was a really good fit. Obviously, the best decision I could have made. Like, I'm very, very happy with the path. And when it comes to like, obviously, like, All-Star in high school built me up to like be prepared for that program, but like Hofstra is kind of what I owe everything to, you know what I mean? Like when I got there, like not only was it like a very competitive team and like focused on like making us better, but Christine's also the one who told me I was going to UCA tryouts and was like, you're going to be on staff. And I'm like, what, like, really?
Yeah.
She was like, no, yeah, you're going to do that. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to trust you. Like, you've never steered me wrong before. So I'm obviously very thankful for that.
So you didn't do UCA staff out of high school. You did it when you joined college.
Yeah, I was a sophomore. So I started technically a year late. Like I did it when I was 19. Your last year I was at 18. And I had grown up going to Trails End Camp. But I just never really, it was like something I just didn't think of, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't trying to pursue staff. It was more like, she was like, no, you're going to be good at this. Like you're going. And I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
You know
okay.
I mean?
Yeah. I trust you, coach. I'm in.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to say no, you know?
So you're okay. You've made the decision. You've put all your eggs in one basket. You're going to Hofstra. You get accepted to Hofstra, and you're going to Hofstra. So kind of talk about, the transition from, as they say, big fish, little pond to now, I mean, you're joining Hofstra University, which at one time, did they win 8 in a row? Or
so
it was something crazy.
When I got there, they had already won once 2003. They had a back-to-back in 5 and 6, or 6 and 7, and then they had a three-peat from 9, 10, 11. And then my freshman year, we were going for a 4-peat.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So then we got the 4-peat, and then my sophomore year, we got our 5-peat.
Okay.
So that's where we were at. So that would have been
So Hofstra had won like 8 of the last 10 years or something crazy, like just dominant.
Yeah,
dominant.
Yeah, so many times.
So you know what you're getting yourself into. You're going in like you as a freshman. They don't like you're going there to win national championships. Like,
right.
kind of talk about that different mindset of like going from high school to joining obviously a powerhouse program that the expectation is excellence. Like you're expected to win.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, when it came to it, like a lot of people just gave me advice and they were just like, if you go to Hofstra, like you really have to love cheerleading. Like it has to be your life. And I was fully committed to making it my life. Like those 4 years, like all I cared about is like how we could be better. Like when are we going to practice? Like, you know what I mean? Like obviously we wanted to win, but it was more like upholding the standards of the people before you. You wanted to make those people proud because those are the people that you looked up to. You know what I mean? Like it sounds a little silly, but all the top girls wear ankle braces there. And I remember, like, I bought my ankle braces, had the same ones all 4 years, everything like that. And I was, like, in my bedroom, like, at home, and I put 2 ankle braces on. And I was like, oh, my God, I look like a Hofstra cheerleader.
Yeah.
Like, this is incredible. You know what I mean? It was just, like I was just ready to give my all to that program. And I had really great leadership on my team that made it, like, they cared about, like, how I was feeling outside of practice. You know what I mean? Like when it came to like at practice, we could be yelling. We could be like, you got to do this better. You have to put these reps in, stuff like that. We got to run, whatever. But then like when you got out of practice, those same seniors who might've been like yelling for you to do better were texting me like, how are you doing? Like, how are you holding up emotionally? Like mentally, like, do you feel okay about cheer? Do you feel okay about school? Like, how are you doing? So I was actually the only freshman on the competition team in 2012, and there were 2 other people who were not vets and they were transfers. So it was kind of like I had to prove myself a little bit more by myself. Like I had all my friends, everything like that, but I was the only one there, like in that spot, trying to like just really prove myself. And I was like, I can handle anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna push my limits, stuff like that, because like you have to buy in to be able to get those championships. You know what I mean? Like, it can't just be something you're like, oh, yeah, like, I really want to win. Like, I'm good enough. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go with any regrets. So it was just my mentality was fit for that program, I believe. You know what I mean? So.
Would you say having a military family background helped you prepare you for that type of mindset at Hofstra?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my parents were always very disciplined and straightforward and everything. Like, nothing gets handed to you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to work for it. Like, I always say that when people ask about, like, flexibility and stretching and stuff like that. I'm like, your success is solely based on your efforts and your discipline to be doing things every single day. So when it came to Hofstra, there was a lot, like I said, like, really good leadership that helped you do that. Like, it wasn't just, like, you need to work harder. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to jump faster. Like, you need to start doing, like, 10 fast jump squats like twice a day. You know what I mean? Like, they were giving me ways. They were like, we need you to improve this way. You know what I mean? And it was like, if you weren't doing that, you'd almost feel like you let them down a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's like the same as my parents. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to make them proud. You know, they've done so many great things for our country and just like living fulfilled lives and everything. So I felt like I wanted to make them proud. My dad always says, like, try to make your name your family name, so try to do proud to the Sexton name. So it's kind of was my goal throughout, but it definitely helped. Probably the most at Hofstra.
We're here with Kaitlyn Sexton. Again, if you have any questions, if we get enough questions, she'll be happy to answer them. Just tap on the question mark at the bottom of the screen and send us any questions that you may have for Kate. And if there's enough questions, we'll do a Q&A a little bit later. So you walk into Hofstra, you're a freshman, and you said you were the only freshman to make the comp team.
Right. Yeah.
Talk about that first year, that first holy crap. Okay, here we go.
So that was my first year was crazy because first, like the year previous, Hofstra had got their first three-peat, 3 titles in a row, and they had already lost that opportunity one time just due to like a routine that didn't work out as planned type thing. And so they were all so like in that mindset. And then actually in the beginning of my freshman year, so in November, we were invited to represent the United States at the European Open Championship.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was in Paris, and I had never been out of the country before. So our coach got us passports expedited, And we went over, and at that point, I wasn't the only freshman on the comp team because there were a lot more people that were allowed in that performance. So we went, and there were a lot of us like kind of working as much as we could type thing, but it was still so new. So I was just kind of like wide open eyes the whole time, like just like I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and just like go with the flow type thing. I don't want to mess anything up. And I realized this team was like super, super competitive when, okay, so we dropped like a couple stunts. We still ended up winning the championship, but we didn't do the performance that we had practiced type thing. And we went back, and my coach called a practice. And we get down, we're down the elevator, we're running to this practice, whatever, we're ready to like get our reps in, whatever like we missed and stuff like that. And I forgot my shoes. And I just like walked down there, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I took them out of my bag. Like, I think it's for a picture that we took earlier. Like, I don't know what to do. And I just remember, like, I had to go back. I got the shoes, walked back, and it was, like, the worst feeling in the whole entire world. You're just like, oh, my, I'm going to get kicked off the team right now. They're going to send me back. They're going to send me back to the United States right now. Like, everybody's so mad at me, whatever. It ended up being something where there was, like, you know, you do something, you accept your punishment, you accept the consequences, everything like that. And then we got back to practicing. We, like, you know, kind of made up for it, everything like that. And then that ended up driving us a little bit more throughout the year. So I did feel like I had kind of an extra connection with my team that most freshmen / teams would ever have the chance to get. But yeah, so then competing that year was just like, I was going to do anything. Like, I already got into it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I can handle anything. My parents can handle anything. This is how they raised me. They prepared me for this type thing. So when it came to doing 5 million pulls at practice, like, even if I landed on my knees because I had shin splints that were bad, you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't going to stop me. Nothing was going to stop me. So, but that was because of the people around me, you know? Like, I had really good support systems. All my friends who were, like, maybe on the team but didn't make the mat that year or something like that, like, they were reaching out. Like, everybody was so supportive because, like, it was just the culture there. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're walking, like you said, that you're walking into this culture, you know, of excellence and of winning. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's basically it. So you make men as a freshman, but, you know, a lot of people, I think, you know, the picture right here is you competing group stunt, and you made USA All Girl, but, like, you're an excellent co-ed flyer also. And so, like, so that freshman year, did you do both co-ed and all girl flying, or were you just doing one, or did kind of, what was your role that year?
Yeah, so I only did co-ed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so we have just specifically co-ed tops and all-girl tops, but every so once in a while, Christine will have certain people well-versed enough to do both type thing, and that actually ended up helping me down the road. We'll get to that when it comes to staff. But I only did co-ed for the routines, competed co-ed all 4 years, never pretty much didn't stunt all-girl at all, except for staff. But for partner stunt, like for the group stunt, we have always had a really strong all-girl program. You know what I mean? Obviously, like, you know, like a small co-ed team, there's such little amounts of spots for all-girl bases, especially. You know what I mean? So when it comes to Hofstra, they've always been super competitive. Like, you have to be the best of the best to even compete against the people trying to make mat on the team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So we had traditionally always competed all-girl group stunt. And I want to say they did it like maybe like 3 or 4 times before I competed. And then I ended up doing it my sophomore year. They chose me type thing. The bases, it was their senior year. So they got to choose like the top girl that they would want to use and everything like that. And they picked me. So like once that happened, like it wasn't an option. It wasn't like I accept type thing like that. I was like, I'm going to give you as much as I can. So they definitely like carried all the weight of our sophomore year routine. And you can tell, I mean, like the routine is structured in a way that really like focuses on how good the bases were. They were catching stunts to the top before I even knew what that meant. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So it was really just something that I got to play around with, and it was like a fun thing that I got to do when I had the opportunity to stunt all girl, but everything else was like only co-ed. Yeah. So
I remember when we made the decision that we were going to do small co-ed, and I remember just watching, I swear it was hours of video of Hofstra, just breaking down your guys' routines, and I'm just like watching this and studying it, and I'm just like, holy cow. That was the first, I was like, you need strong females to be on a small co-ed team. Like, you need some strong ladies to be able to hold those, like, because the expectation of small co-ed is you're doing the same stuff as a large co-ed team with 5 less guys. And it's just, And I'm just like, it really challenges you as a program to go small co-ed. It's an extremely hard division because, you're female. There's a lot asked of your females. I completely agree with that, Kaitlyn, for sure.
Right, yeah. And I think Christine is, like, an exceptional choreographer. Like, I think she just gets it, and I think that kind of, I don't know if that was necessarily, like, the advantage. Like, obviously, like, it's a lot of how she structured her program and everything like that, but, like, she just has a vision that I will never stop looking up to. Mm-hmm. She just, like, you know what I mean? Like, she just, like, she makes her routines entertaining. They're, like, balanced, you know, like, I love her routines. I loved all the routines that I was a part of, you know what I mean? But I think that was probably mostly because of her. And I mean, like, even, like, we used to do, like, the all-girl toss hands, press extension, all 5 of them.
In the cheer. Yep.
Yeah, she was training us on all of those for so long. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a standard that she set, you know what I mean? You don't want to let her down. Like, she's like, she hands you everything, you know what I mean, that is going to make you successful, like, not just in cheerleading, but in life. You know what I mean? She's making sure that you're keeping your grades up. Like, obviously, like, I graduated in 4 years, just like I was supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, she's not encouraging that cheerleading takes the priority. So I think that well-roundedness helped us a lot, you know what I mean? Especially when it came to the routine, because we were all understanding that, like, she's gonna guide us in the right direction. So I really appreciated her so much.
So as you talked about then, after your freshman year, you join or try out for UCA staff. Never done it before, and you decide, hey, I'm going to do the staff thing. So like you said, your coach, Christine, had a huge influence. Well, basically, she told you to do it. So she basically told you, you're going to do staff, try it out. So talk about your first UCA staff tryout and just kind of that first summer and your first experience with staff.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was cool because it was something, like, I didn't think of it competitively, you know what I mean? It was just more like, it was like, hey, I'm going to do this. This is a fun job, you know what I mean? Whatever, summer job. And I was living on Long Island still during the summers. And so she had me doing that. And it was like the first summer, I remember, like, Demond was my HI. He was super funny. Like, it was like, I felt very clear about, like, how UCA camp should go.
I love Demond. I love him. Yeah.
But, yeah, so I remember he said, Joe Cooper told Demond, he was like, put her in elite sun class. We're going to need her to, like, still do that and everything like that. And Demond was like, okay. And then I went to go stunt. I was just so nervous and, like, jittery and everything like that. He was like, all right, yeah, you're gonna go to teach you advanced class. I feel like that'll be more comfortable. And that was, like, what built my confidence enough to, like, then fill the role that Joe had, like, kind of set out for me. You know what I mean? And then I ended up doing another summer of just high school camps around the area and stuff, returned back to, like, Trails End, where I had gone to high school, which has kind of come full circle again. And then my third year is when I started doing college staff.
Okay.
And the weird part about that was that I got there and I was, like, I don't want to say praised, but, like, definitely recognized for the fact that I could stunt all girl and co-ed. You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of like an in-between size, and I just always could do co-ed, but, like, all girl just came so naturally to me. And it was something that a lot of people hadn't really tried to pursue to, like, keep up with co-ed type thing. It was always like, oh, we're going to try to figure out that stunt, but, like, we'll just do, like, another version of it type thing. And then, like, UCA change it to a way where we're like, no, like, we can be better than the boys too. You know what I mean? We have 3 people. Like, we have so many more opportunities and everything. So I kept switching back between co-ed and all girl. And I had been basketing my whole life already. You know what I mean? So once, I guess, like, Tony had me jump into a toe touch basket, and he was like, all right, well, you're going to do that now. You know what I mean? And then it turned into me doing the basket demos and stuff like that. So then it ended up being well-rounded, where if you needed me to do all girl, I could do all girl. If you needed me to do co-ed, I could do co-ed. If you need me to do baskets, I can do a lot of those. So then they started just, like, you know, making sure they knew, like, I knew that I was valuable and that they wanted me to stick around for a little bit. And that's what ended up leading into my full-time job. And obviously still doing UCA staff today and everything. So.
And we'll get to that in a second. We're here with Kaitlyn Sexton. We're talking about her transition to trying out for UCA staff, and now she made college staff. And I've interviewed people who obviously did college staff, and it's a huge honor to be asked to do college staff. I mean, it's no joke. You have to be the best of the best. I mean, and you are working with guys like Tony Nash, who puts together these crazy routines and helps with that. And, usually has run the all-girl portion of college camp. I mean, kind of talk about that experience in terms of, working college staff. And I'm sure, because you said you didn't do college staff till your third year, so by then you're a senior in college. So, right. I mean, but did you feel like because of staff, you were still getting better because of that?
Oh, for sure. College staff is 100% what makes, it was like the biggest jump in my progressive skills because of the technique. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like once you're in college and doing high school skills, you think of it as like a little bit lesser than your ability. You know what I mean? You're just like, I have experience doing way more than this. So you feel very confident in displaying technique that people are supposed to emulate and learn from. So when it comes to college staff, you're doing stunts now that you haven't had for as long, and you have to focus that much more. So it really, it did wonders for my technique. And like you said, like I was going into my senior year at Hofstra. So it's like Christine like helped me like kind of understand where I was at and like my abilities and stuff like that. College staff definitely polished that and helped me in the long run, because my technique was always just kind of like, I was like the ninja that wasn't scared of anything. Like it was like, for lack of a better term, jank. You know what I mean? Like my tumble is not the best technique, but like you're not nervous that I'm not going to land it. You know what I mean? Like I can spin fast, but like sometimes I'll just do squirrely things just because like it's natural. But then like staff allowed me to kind of just polish those things and make them cleaner and make them consistent so I could teach. Yeah. You know what I mean? And make it the same way every time. So.
So as you talked about, we already got some great questions. So again, here in about 15 minutes, we'll do a Q&A with Kaitlyn. I already have some great questions. So again, if any last minute questions, just tap on that question mark at the bottom and she'd be happy to answer them. So before we get into, like you said, UCA obviously opened up many doors, which leads to what you're doing today, which is, VROC and continue to still do UCA College Staff. But obviously a huge part of your life before we get to that is making the U.S. national team. You've been on the U.S. national team now multiple times, and kind of talk about that experience of doing the U.S. national team process.
Yeah, so I feel, like I said, I think the biggest part for me for USA was that my parents could be proud of something that was more than just cheerleading. Because I mean, like they were involved and everything like that, but it's not their craft. You know what I mean? So it's like they kind of just see me like flipping and like going really high up, and they're like, okay, be careful. You know what I mean? But like representing my country, you know what I mean, was just like it was obviously like it's an honor and everything like that, but it did hit home a little closer to me.
Sure.
So, but I actually like my USA journey is kind of all in itself a very weird journey in the sense of my junior year. My partner stunt group from sophomore year was chosen as the representative to be the group stunt for USA all girl, and we basically flew down there the weekend of the competition, and we had never been more confident in our whole entire lives, like of any routine. Like I felt like I was like polishing my skills. I felt good about it. I knew people who were watching me, stuff like that. But we went and I don't know, I think I just wasn't focused or something, but we did drop a stunt. We ended up, dropping the placements, and for you to feel like you let not only your teammates down, your bases, like your coaches, stuff like that, like Tony, who I wasn't even really like that close with yet or anything like that, felt like I let everybody down. It was just a huge fuel to want to come back. And so everybody was very supportive. It wasn't like, like you go to nationals and like if something goes wrong, you know what I mean? Like teams are really upset. You've worked on that for so long. This one I hadn't worked on for as long. It was more just like I cared more about other people. But the coaching staff was just so supportive in the sense of like, it's okay. This is not your day. We're going to grow from this. Like nobody's blaming you. Nobody's mad at you. Like you still did a great job representing your country, representing this program, like whichever program you'd be on. But that kind of support, I think, and drive to want to make it up for those people is what helped me to want to try out the next year. So my senior year I tried out. I put that picture in there because 2014 at USA, that's actually where I met my fiance.
Okay, we'll get to that story in a bit then.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll save that
I know.
for,
That's
yes.
it. But yeah, so
Yes. We'll go
we
back to
had
all girl. Here we
a
go.
competition. Right. Well, no, that's the thing. So it was like I went and I like dropped and stuff like that, but I ended up meeting, you know what I mean, who was just a friend then, you know what I mean, but we ended up dating, and now he's going to be my future husband. So it's like, so USA, even though like that day, you know, might not have worked out how it was planned and everything like that, but that if it weren't for that moment and that day and me being down there, meeting those people, having the support, like not doing it like the way I expected to do it, like it helped me want to continue for so many more years. So the next year went and I tried out and competed with people on my team. A couple of my bases from Partnerset and another back spot on my team did in 2015. Kind of had a little bit of a bobble, so I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll do it next year. But I was like, you know what? No, I'm a world champion. Like, I'm done. Whatever, I'm done. So then then I graduated, right? And then went on to the next year, and I was still teaching, so I was like still kind of able to do things, but I was like, I've been off for 7 months, like I can't do this again. And then so I had a couple friends reach out to me, and they were like, hey, you want to try out with us? I was like, no, definitely not. And then they sent it with somebody else, and then she was like, well, I'm going to send with people from my teams, and they didn't have a top girl, so then I was like, fine, I'll do it one more time. Like, it's okay. I guess it can be a little bit more. Okay, it's fine. So then 2016 happened. That was a senior sign-up group. So I had an entirely UCA staff group in this picture up here, which is cool because we were all from different programs. My main was from HBU. My side curvy was from Indiana, and my back squat Jocelyn was from Moorhead. So that was cool because that was a whole mix of us, but our technique went well together. And that was,
which is a crazy talented group, by the way.
Yeah, so we actually hadn't even stunted before that point. We stunted the very first time at tryouts that morning.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy, but like it was enough. Like we had understanding from UCA staff where our technique could go together and like make something happen. And then it ended up being very successful, which we were obviously very thankful for. But it was good communication in that group. And
also, Tony Nash is in front of you, so you're not going to screw up in front of Tony Nash. I mean, let's just be honest here.
Oh, believe me. So Tony and I have, I know like he's like on this, so hi Tony. But I know he's been like texting me. I can't check my text messages right now. But Tony, I just love Tony because now that he coached me, you know what I mean? He guided me. He did so much for me as a coach. We got to work together more closely, and I just have so much respect for him. You know what I mean? And it's like, of course, you don't want to let him down. Like, you don't want to, like, and even like Savannah, who was coaching, you know what I mean? She was just like, I watched her when she was doing Partnerset, when she competed for USA Partnerset, and how good of a top girl she was, how she performs and just like catches the audience. You know what I mean? So, like, people like that looking in front of you, and then there was, like, Leighton, and then I was in the center of the dance my first year, and it was, like, done by Blake, and I had never been in a routine choreographed by Blake before, so it was just, like, seeing all these people, you're just, like, starry-eyed the whole entire time. You really, like, not only do you want to, like, prove to them that you can do it, but, like, they trusted you to do those things, and they wouldn't, like, it's not really your place to say, like, oh, I can't do this. Like, no, they already told you can do this. You know what I mean? So it was like looking at Tony, you know what I mean? Like, he could tell when I'm in a bad mood. He could tell when I'm in a good mood, stuff like that. I think he's a good coach for, like, how he treats people individually. So that definitely, I mean, it had a factor. But there's also, like, the people on the team. They're awesome, too. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's so encouraging of each other, even though they're on all different teams. You know what I mean? Like, they just want to, like, you just want to do a good job for them. Like, that's all you kind of care about in that moment.
Every person I talked to that's been able to experience the U.S. national team experience, every single person said never regretted one moment of it, even though for those 10 days that you put that routine together, it's absolute hell, which I don't know how you guys do it. That's unbelievable. You put those routines together in like 8 or 9 days and perform it by the 10th, and that's crazy to me. But so as you talked about, though, UCA opened up doors. We're going to have our Q&A here in about 5-6 minutes, so I want to get to the rest of your story. So it opened up doors, and eventually you start working for varsity. So kind of talk about that next chapter of your life, what you're doing right now.
So to be completely honest, like I'm like definitely one of the few weird ones who can maintain my skills with age. I'm not really sure. I want to believe that's mostly because of like willpower and discipline. You know what I mean? So when it came to like when it came to, I mean, USA all those years, or like staff or everything like that, like just kind of like, I don't know, you just like want to keep getting better, and like teaching people and like having it matter to people is just like, it's such a contagious feeling because it's so fulfilling. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I don't know, just working on technique throughout the years. And I was just always trying to be just better. Like I wasn't trying to beat anybody, anything like that. And then I had a PR degree and everything like that. And I had like...
Actually, that was a question I was going to ask you. What did you study at Hofstra? Okay.
Yeah, so I had a public relations degree. I had a minor in fine arts. And so I wanted to do a little bit of like, not only like writing and marketing and stuff like that, but also had experience with graphic design and stuff. So when it came to applying for jobs and stuff like that, like it was kind of a win-win for both of us. Like I got a full-time job right out of college, and they also had somebody who was like gonna have a few years to go, whether it was needed for writing purposes or like for just a new like creative mind, or is also things like skills, and like I could be used for a lot of marketing materials and stuff like that. And I definitely had my share of years where that was a big thing that I did, which I liked doing and everything like that. But like I could also do like the dancing and the material videos and stuff like that, and I was pretty willing the whole time. So that has definitely been what has kept me in shape all these years. I do know that I have the expectation to always return. So like there's not a day that goes by that I don't pull a heel stretch, you know what I mean, or stretch or stuff like that. And I like try to make sure I'm stunting and tumbling consistently, because I like my job. I want to keep doing it. And so when it comes to like actually doing the skills camps and stuff, like I only want to help people. Like anybody who I've worked with, like I'm just like, ask me questions. Like I'm not scared to tell you everything I know, because you can't take the fact that I've done more reps than most people away from me. You know what I mean? Like I have the experience, I know how it feels, stuff like that. But like I genuinely want to help everybody. Like I want to help every coach, every team build their program, build out, because when we evolve per team, all of cheerleading gets better. Yep. You know what I mean? So UCA gave me a really good opportunity to help like make a difference type thing, and like do my part in that. So
well, whenever I talk to coaches, and I've been able, through this whole experience of being able to talk to so many people, the one thing that I've been saying, especially with what's going on in the world today and what's going on right now, I just think the one thing that I will say for the most part about cheerleading in our little world, and really people are willing to help each other. You know, like people aren't keeping secrets. Like I've always said this about Tony. You know, I just respect Tony a lot because I'm sure he doesn't give all the secrets, but he has no problem telling people what techniques he teaches and what works for him. And same with a lot of other coaches. Like people are willing to bounce ideas off each other and share and help each other, which is so heartwarming, especially in today's world.
Right, exactly. And it's like, if other teams are better, it's just going to drive you to be even better.
Yes.
And you have the advantage because you're helping somebody else. That means you already have more information than they do. You know what I mean? So let's level out the playing field. You're going to continue getting better.
Yes.
But like we all need to get better to have that drive. You know what I mean? And that's why like I feel like I love this virtual time. You know what I mean? Because we get the chance to like to help each other when we're kind of all in the same place of like we're all in like this limbo of like people can't really have as many practices as they want to. So the people who are like trying to help others and like spread this passion and like spread information are helping so much more than they probably see the results of. Yes.
I agree. 100% agree. Well, before we talk about the last part of your life here, which is your recent engagement and everything, before we do that, are you ready for a little Q&A, Kaitlyn?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
That sound effect means we have Q&A. And real quick, the Q&A is brought to you by Choc. Choc is an awesome product. They actually sent me some, and it's actually a really big bottle. It's actually a lot bigger than I expected. So really cool product. My guys have used it. It works great. Go to cheerchoc.us and use the discount code FULLOUT10 to get 10% off your order. So again, cheerchoc.us and go to FULLOUT10 on the discount code to be able to get 10% off. And thank you again, Choc. So let's get to the Q&A. Here we go. I mean, I'm sure you asked this a ton, but what is your favorite basket? Now, I will say, you are one of the best top girls I've ever had the pleasure of watching and seeing and performing. You're excellent. But I will say your basket tosses are something that you're legendary for. So out of all the unbelievable trick baskets you have been able to do, What is your favorite?
Well, I mean, my favorite one to do is no longer one that we teach anymore. It's not legal at the school level. A pike open double is by far my favorite basket.
I was hoping you'd say that because your pike open double was unbelievable. Yeah.
It was like when I learned it at camp, my coach was like, what do you want to learn? I'm like, I want to do that one, like the pike open double one. They were like, all right, cool. A couple instructors taught me how to do it and everything like that, and I literally like landed it first try and fell in love. I was like, this is my favorite thing. I'm like, oh, this is like hard. Like it feels so easy for me. And it was just something that like I was a good flipper and spins come naturally. So that was definitely my favorite. But nowadays, I mean, I love a solid X full. I'm well known for that. I think when it comes to my baskets, just because of like, I think it's because I'm like my legs are long. You know what I mean? So like when I do an X full, it just looks different than most of their top girls who are like small. But I think then like the split full or kick full is my favorite. It's just so floaty and it's like weird because like you have a moment where you're like you're not really sure like what angle you're facing or anything like that, and then all of a sudden you see your bases and you just give them a little hug and you're like,
there it is.
Yeah. So I like that was good, but I like them all.
Here's a good one. Just based on your experience and what everybody's going through, what are some ways to keep athletes engaged and determined during the whole COVID-19 situation we're in?
So I think avoiding social media would be like the worst thing. You know what I mean? So I feel like the big thing is that we have a lot of teachers, teams, there's podcasts, there's like, you know what I mean? There's interview stuff like that keeps everybody engaged. And I think not losing your passion for what we have in cheerleading when we're off season, you know what I mean, is just probably like the biggest thing. I mean, because like you definitely like we've spent like I know we've posted like a lot on V-Rock and everything like that of different like stretches and exercises you can do, and like those are definitely necessary. You have to be disciplined and everything like that. But I think it's just making sure that like we're not missing the long-term, you know what I mean, like goals that we have. So it's like, even if it's just a little bit of movements every day, you focus on one thing that you have a goal on during the day, you know, and just like keep focusing on that and making sure that it's part of our daily lives while we're at home. Maybe we're not at practice and like that. I think that's going to make it so you don't just like kind of forget about it. You know what I mean? 'Cause like when we come back, it's gonna be like everybody's trying to go like super quickly and everything like that. But like if you guys are doing little tiny like muscle movements, stuff like that, and you're just thinking about cheerleading and you're letting your brain go the same way it would if we were still at practice, I think that's going to be the most helpful. You know what I mean? And obviously, like, there are a lot of places that are making that really easy to do. I know, like, there's, like, we have varsity virtual classes that you can do. I mean, obviously, like, we have this, like, you're interviewing people who obviously a lot of people look up to, and it's a really nice time to, like, get a little bit more into it. We have, like, fun podcasts like the Mark Through. We have, like, you know what I mean? Like, everything that we have is just, like, stay in it. Keep looking at it. Like, keep sharing, keep commenting on it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what keeps us all together. So that way we can, like, come back better than ever, you know?
I 100% retweet everything you just said. There are, like, there's now, like, multiple, like, spirit industry cheer, like, podcasts out there now. And I think people are trying to keep that passion up, like you said. And, like, or now we some of us have now a little bit more time to be able to do things we've always wanted to do. And maybe, you know, find a different passion, but keeping that all within the cheer world to keep that passion. Because, you know, once we get by this, because we will overcome all this eventually, we're going to go crazy. We're going to start practicing like hardcore and get back into it. We're going to love it.
Yeah.
So.
Everyone's going to be so thankful that we're back.
Exactly.
I'm so excited for when we are, but as long as we can all stay together and we're just like making sure, like just keep watching content. That's why I try to post a lot on my UCA Kate account because you know what I mean? Like I know we're not at camp anymore. Like everybody knows like I miss camp and everything like that, but like that could be something that just makes somebody else think about cheerleading that day. And maybe they'll think about something that they miss, and then they'll think about how excited they are to come back.
100%. This is a good question from Cameron. Why do all the Hofstra cheerleaders wear ankle braces?
So honestly, it's just a precautionary thing. In general, it's just kind of like in New York, co-ed cheerleading isn't huge. Actually pretty much in the whole Northeast type thing. And so when it comes to like co-ed studying and stuff like that, and you're teaching new boys, like, of course, we always have spotters, we always work in progressions, everything like that, just like you're supposed to. But it's just that extra bit of like teaching brand new athletes who have never cheered before, who maybe don't understand how easy it is to, you know, sprain an ankle or something like that if you don't catch well enough. You know what I mean? So it's more just like just knowing that we have all those new people that our coaches are starting to teach from scratch. It's just to make sure, like, you know, you just have that extra precautionary method. Now it's like kind of like a tradition, like kind of just like, I don't know. I thought it was cool because it's like the one thing that Hofstra cheerleaders do that I feel like nobody else does. And it was like I said, when I put those ankle braids on, I was like, here I am.
I'm ready. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Question from Amanda. Would you ever coach a college team?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if one, I really like Colorado, here, like living here, and a lot of like the programs here already have great coaching staffs. You know what I mean? So obviously my fiance coaches at CU co-ed. And so I do like going and like every so once in a while just visiting a practice and just like kind of going back to the college cheerleading world and stuff like that. But, I probably wouldn't ever seek a position like that type thing. Like if it's like, I'm a person where I believe in like fate, and like if something's meant to happen, it'll just kind of like the path will head that way. So I'm open to it, but not probably like, I don't know. We'll see when an opportunity comes up type thing, you know.
Just a quick shout out from Jalen. Greatest all around cheerleader ever, Kate. There you go. From Jalen.
Thank you, Jalen. I love you.
Okay, this is a tough one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I hope you have the right answer. This is from, I don't know who this is, but national champ. Who's your favorite coach ever?
My favorite coach, that's really hard. I think, honestly, my favorite coach ever would be one that I haven't been coached by, Mr. Tanner Leday.
Oh, he's a good coach.
He coaches Colorado co-ed, and I sort of like in like watching him with that team grow, they just amaze me constantly. I mean, like I said, I already had many great coaches, you know what I mean, like Erin Powers and Christine Farina and Tony Nash and Savannah and Leighton and everybody. But, you know, I don't know, I have a bias. So
I don't blame you. And I don't blame you at all in that answer. Last question, which is a great question. Another one from Amanda, but it's a good question. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What do you see? What will Kaitlyn be doing in 10 years from now?
So I love doing V-Rock choreography. I do feel like I'm just getting started. I would say that I don't see myself doing skills in 10 years. I would like to say that I'm going to be doing skills as long as it's comfortable for me type thing. So I'd assume that if I'm still doing anything with UCA, that would be more of like a head instructor position type thing like that. But, when it comes to like where I'd be in 10 years, I mean, hopefully still living in Colorado and doing choreography and hopefully helping, you know, teams get better and everything like that. But hopefully just being very happy. You know what I mean? I'm very happy now, and I feel like as I get older, I just get happier and like kind of get more control of my own life. So I hope that in 10 years, I just feel really good about where I'm at, and like I'm still really planning on growing.
So talking about happiness, part of that happiness is who you said is your favorite coach, who's Tanner. And Tanner's a great guy. And like you said, had you not been sent down there to do the group stunt, you don't know what could have happened. You never know. And even though at the time it may have been maybe, quote unquote, one of the worst experiences of your life because you did drop, you said, but you obviously met who's the love of your life. And so kind of talk about, you know, Tanner, and talk about kind of like, you know, what are the plans for you guys?
So we met on USA. He was on the co-ed team, was on all girl, and like I feel like everything, I'm not saying should start, like I said, like I believe in like fate, and I genuinely believe that we were there, you know what I mean, not to like we had other purposes to be there type thing like that, and obviously it affected a lot of other things, but that was a little thing that like ended up working out, where we met, and then actually a year later at the World Championship in 2015 is the day that we started dating. And then it ended up being like every World was like our anniversary type thing. And it just wasn't, so he's from Texas, I'm from New York, and that's where we lived when we started dating. And so we weren't long distance people or anything like that, but it was just something that we were like on the same page. You know what I mean? We were like, no, this is not just like, this is not just something we're not going to work through type thing like that. And ended up obviously like, then we moved to other states and then finally got to live together and stuff like that. And then we ended up dating for like 4.5, a little longer than that, years before he recently proposed.
Which looked awesome. Yeah, you posted those pictures. It looked absolutely beautiful, and it looks like he did a great job in regards to doing that. And Tanner's a great guy. I've met Tanner so many times. He's such a good dude. Such a great guy.
He's great. He's very kind-hearted, but obviously, if you like, for anybody who's met him, he's hilarious. So, but probably totally gonna.
So, you're now engaged. You're living in Colorado, and that's kind of. And we have about 5 minutes here because at Instagram Live they literally kick you off in an hour. They just chop you down. Okay. So we got about 5 minutes here. But I did want to ask you, like, you grew up in New York. You're an East Coast girl, and now you're living in Colorado, which is a little bit more laid back. You know, a little different culture, different lifestyle, but. Obviously, like you've already said multiple times, you love Colorado, and I don't blame you. I love Colorado. Beautiful state. Kind of talk about that transition going from, living in the East Coast, New York most of your life to now living in Colorado.
Yeah, so I lived in Memphis for a couple years.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I did start working for varsity. So I had already left New York.
Okay.
And I wasn't probably going to go back because realistically, the taxes are really bad there, type thing like that. And so, Colorado was the only state I ever visited in all of my high school camp travels and college camp travels where we just go to all these random states. It was the only state where I was just like, I don't want to leave this place.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this sounds so silly, but the air and like the lack of humidity is like good for my hair, good for my skin. I'm like, I feel right here. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, it was something telling me that I really wanted to be here. And we were living in Memphis. Tanner was looking for coaching jobs and got the position as head coach at CU Boulder. So that was like, it was just kind of like everything fell into place type thing like that. And then obviously switching into more of a B-Rock role that allowed me to work from home thanks to Josh McCurdy. And so with that, it just kind of all fell into place. And with that being said, we're very thankful about it. You know what I mean? We're not just like, oh yeah, everything works out for us, whatever. We are thankful for the opportunities that we've had, and we're still trying to grow and make sure everything is exactly how we would want our lives to be, you know what I mean, in the long run of things. We're very just like, we want something, if something's bad, if we don't like something about our life, like we're going to change it and make sure that we keep growing. So we love Colorado. We want to stay here forever. Tanner's doing a great job with his team and everything like that. So it's just hopefully, forever type thing. But
I have so many friends that live in Colorado that they're never leaving. They're staying there forever. Yeah. It's a done deal. Yeah.
I can see mountains from my house, from my apartment. You know what I mean? Like, it's something you never take for granted. I agree. So
it's the best hiking, the best sightseeing you'll ever do in your life. I 100% agree with you.
It's hard being 2 hours behind my friends, not gonna lie. But that part's a little rough. But other than that, I mean, I can't complain about anything. So.
Kaitlyn Sexton, thank you so much. Seriously, we're almost at an hour already, so this is great. I just want, seriously, I cannot thank you enough for your time. Thank you for everything you've done. Every time I've been able to have you as a private instructor for UCA camps, you've always been so great to me and my kids. So I just thank you for everything. I really do.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having me on. I'm excited. It's just, add to the connections of the cheerleading world, and hopefully it wasn't too boring.
And also anybody, you can also follow her at UCA Kate. She has a great Instagram through UCA. So follow her at UCA Kate to keep up with her life travels and everything she's doing in the cheer world. So Kaitlyn Sexton, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Steve, for having me.
Have a great day.
All right, you as well.
Kaitlyn Sexton, the sweetest girl, the sweetest person you'll meet. Just, I didn't know about her military background with her parents, which was super cool. I absolutely, completely know what she's talking about. My dad was military, and there was just no BS. I mean, you get the job done, and I now know her so much better because of knowing her background and understand why she was she's wired the way she is, and why she's a champion, why she gets things done and is so successful in life. And I am a true believer of that stuff. So special thank you again to Kaitlyn Sexton for joining me today. Again, real quick, shout out to our sponsor, CheerChoc. Go to cheerchoc.us, put in the discount code FULLOUT10 to get 10% off your order. They have a $5 off special right now. So if you put in FULLOUT10, you'll get an additional 10% off that $5 off special. Great bottle. Works for over 50 uses. Awesome. Definitely good product. I would highly suggest you get some. So again, thank you all very much. This project has been so much fun. Feel free to please reach out to me, fulloutchats@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments or any ideas for any future episodes, would love to hear it. So again, thank you all very much. I have 2 awesome interviews lined up for next week. Who are those 2? I'll give you a clue. We're going Hollywood and we're going old school. That's all I got for you. We're going Hollywood and old school. I will post tomorrow on our Instagram who next week's Full Out Chats are going to be. You're going to love it. So thank you all very much. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.